The massive space station floated in the dark void like a giant metal city. Ships from across the galaxy surrounded it. Each ship was bigger than Earth's tallest buildings. Inside the station's main hall, the most powerful beings in the universe sat around a circular table that could fit a football field. Ambassador Sarah Chen walked slowly into the room. Her small human figure looked tiny next to the giant alien creatures. Some aliens had 6 arms. Others had scales like dragons. A few glowed with strange lights. But all of them had one thing in common. They were staring at the human woman and laughing. "So," said Admiral Zextar, his voice booming through the hall. The reptilian creature was twice as tall as any human. His yellow eyes glowed with amusement. "The little humans want our protection." More laughter filled the room. It echoed off the metal walls like thunder. Sarah stood calmly in the center. She wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's flag on her shoulder. Her face showed no fear, no anger, just patience. "We are asking for help," Sarah said clearly. Her voice was steady. "The Vothan Empire plans to invade Earth in 7 days. Our people need protection." A creature that looked like a walking tree burst into laughter. "Protection? From what army?" Green sap dripped from his mouth as he spoke. "You humans still use chemical rockets. We saw your ships. They move slower than cargo freighters." "Pathetic," shouted another alien. This one had blue skin and tentacles for arms. "My pet could build better ships." Sarah listened to every insult. She did not move. She did not speak. She just waited. Admiral Zextar stood up. His massive form cast a shadow over Sarah. "Human," he said, his voice filled with mockery. "Do you know how many species the Vothan Empire has conquered?" "I do," Sarah replied. 47 civilizations, Zextar continued. Species with weapons that could destroy stars. Races that could bend time itself. And they all fell to Vothan power. He leaned closer to Sarah. "What makes you think your primitive world deserves our help?" The room fell silent. Every alien eye focused on the small human woman. Sarah looked around the room slowly. She met each alien's gaze without fear. "We don't think we deserve it," she said quietly. "We're simply asking for it." This brought fresh waves of laughter. "Asking!" The tree creature slapped the table with his branch hands. "The cosmic insects are asking for help." "They have nothing to offer us," said a floating alien made of pure energy. "No advanced technology, no rare resources, no powerful weapons. They are useless. Completely useless," agreed Zextar. He walked around Sarah like a predator circling prey. "Tell me, human, what is your strongest weapon?" "Nuclear missiles," Sarah answered honestly. The entire room exploded with laughter. Some aliens fell from their chairs. Others held their stomachs and roared with amusement. "Nuclear missiles!" Zextar could barely speak through his laughter. "We used those toys 1,000,000 years ago. Before we learned to harness real power. My children played with stronger weapons," shouted the blue-skinned alien. Sarah waited for the laughter to die down. Then she spoke again. "So you will not help Earth?" "Help you?" Zextar wiped tears from his yellow eyes. "Why would we waste our time? The Vorthans will crush your world in minutes. It would be over before we could even send a single ship." "Besides," added the energy being, "losing Earth would teach other primitive species their place. It's better for everyone." Sarah nodded slowly. "I understand your position." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device. It looked like a simple communicator. The aliens barely glanced at it. "Then Earth will handle this situation alone," Sarah said. She pressed a button on the device. "Thank you for making your position clear." A soft beep came from the device. Sarah smiled, not a sad smile, but something else. Something that made a few aliens stop laughing. "That's it?" Zextar asked, surprised. "No begging, no desperate offers, no crying?" "No," Sarah said simply. "We asked. You answered. That's enough." She turned to leave, but Zextar called out, "Human, when the Vorthans finish with your world, don't come crying to us." Sarah stopped at the doorway. She looked back over her shoulder. Her smile grew wider. "Don't worry, Admiral. We won't need to." The small human woman walked out of the Great Hall. Behind her, the aliens continued laughing and making jokes about Earth's coming destruction. But if they had listened carefully, they might have heard Sarah speak into her communicator as the doors closed. "Phase 1 is complete," she whispered. "They took the bait perfectly. Begin Phase 2. Back in the hall, Admiral Zextar was telling another joke about human weakness. The other aliens roared with laughter. None of them noticed the strange energy reading that appeared on their sensors for exactly 3 seconds. None of them saw the tiny smile that never left Sarah's face as she walked to her ship. And none of them suspected that the laughing had just sealed their fate. The galaxy was about to learn something important about humans, something that would change everything forever. But that lesson was still 6 days away. 6 days had passed since the Galactic Council meeting. Now, at the edge of Earth's solar system, space itself seemed to tear apart. Massive ships appeared from the darkness like metal monsters awakening from sleep. The Vorthon invasion fleet had arrived. General Krath stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Star Crusher. He was 8 feet tall with grey skin like stone and red eyes that glowed with cruel intelligence. Behind him, 10,000 Vorthon warships stretched across space like a dark metal ocean. "Report," Krath commanded. His voice was cold and sharp. "All ships in position, General," replied his second officer. "Earth's defense grid is laughable." Krath smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Through the massive viewing window, he could see Earth hanging in space like a blue marble. Around it floated small metal platforms and tiny ships. "Those are their defenses?" Krath laughed. "I've seen children's toys that look more dangerous." The tactical display showed Earth's military assets. 12 space stations, 48 defense ships, a few missile platforms scattered around the moon. "General," the weapons officer spoke up, "our smallest destroyer could destroy their entire fleet alone." "How boring," Krath said. He walked to his command chair, each step echoing in the silent bridge. "I was hoping for at least some entertainment. The council said humans were weak, but this is just sad." He pressed a button on his armrest. His voice boomed across all 10,000 ships. "Vorthon warriors, today we add another world to our empire. The pathetic humans before us have no chance. This battle will be over in 1 hour." Cheers erupted from thousands of alien throats across the fleet. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, a very different scene was playing out. Colonel Marcus Webb sat in an underground command center that looked like something from science fiction. Hundreds of screens showed data streams, star maps, and battle readiness reports. Webb was a quiet man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had been preparing for this day for 20 years. Around him, his staff worked at their stations with focused intensity. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Davis, looking up from her console, "Vorthon fleet has taken attack formation. They're beginning their approach." "Excellent," Webb said softly. He pressed a button on his desk. "All units, this is Control. Phase 2 is now active. Repeat, Phase 2 is active." On the surface, news reporters were broadcasting to the world. Emergency sirens wailed in major cities. People ran through streets, carrying suitcases and looking terrified. "This is Sarah Martinez reporting from New York," a news anchor said into her camera. "The alien invasion fleet has been spotted approaching Earth. Military officials are calling this humanity's darkest hour. Our defense forces appear completely outmatched." The camera showed Earth's small defense ships moving into position. They looked like gnats trying to fight elephants. Back in space, General Krath watched the human ships with amusement. "Look at them," he told his officers. "They're actually trying to form a battle line. How adorable." The Vorthon fleet moved closer to Earth. Their ships were massive, each one 5 times larger than Earth's biggest vessels. Energy weapons powered up, filling space with an ominous red glow. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, "the humans are sending us a transmission." "Put it through," Krath said. "I want to hear them beg." The image of a human admiral appeared on screen. The man looked old and tired. "Vorthon fleet, this is Admiral Morrison of Earth Defense Command. We surrender. Please spare our civilians." Krath's laughter filled the bridge. "Too late for surrender, human. You should have thought of that before your ambassador insulted the council." "But sir, we're no threat to you," the admiral pleaded. "Our weapons can't even scratch your hulls." "I know," Krath said coldly. "That's what makes this fun." He cut the transmission and turned to his weapons officer. "Destroy their defense platforms first. Make them watch their protection crumble." The Vorthon ships opened fire. Massive energy beams shot across space like red lightning. Earth's defense platforms exploded one by one, lighting up the darkness with brilliant orange fireballs. On Earth's surface, people watched the sky in terror as their defenses died. But in the underground bunker, Colonel Webb smiled. "Sir," Lieutenant Davis said quietly, All surface assets destroyed as planned. The Vorthans are taking the bait perfectly. Webb nodded. Good. How are our real assets? Project Ghost Fleet reports all systems green, Davis replied. They're ready and waiting. Webb looked at the main screen, which showed the Vorthan fleet approaching Earth with confidence. They had no idea what was really waiting for them. Sir, another officer reported, the Vorthans are sending ground troops toward our major cities. They think we're defenseless. Let them think that, Webb said calmly. He reached for a red button marked classified on his control panel. It's time they learned the truth about humanity. General Krath stood on his bridge, watching human cities grow larger on his screen. Victory was minutes away. His troops were already celebrating. General, his sensor officer called out suddenly. I'm getting strange readings. What kind of readings? Krath asked, not really concerned. Energy signatures that don't make sense, sir. They appear and disappear in microseconds. Almost like what? Krath snapped. Like ships appearing and vanishing, sir. But that's impossible. Krath frowned. He walked to the sensor station and looked at the display. For just a moment he saw energy signatures appear around his fleet, signatures that looked like ships. Then they vanished. Sensor malfunction, he decided. Fix it. But deep in the earth, Colonel Webb's finger hovered over the red button. 20 years of secret preparation had led to this moment. All stations, he said into his microphone. This is Colonel Webb. Project Ghost Fleet is now authorized for full deployment. He pressed the button. Show them what humans can really do. In space, General Krath was about to give the order to destroy Earth cities when his sensor officer screamed. General! Multiple contacts. Hundreds of them. They're appearing all around us. Krath spun toward the viewing window. What he saw made his blood freeze. Ships were materializing out of nowhere. Not small human ships, massive vessels that rivaled his own. They appeared for a few seconds, fired devastating weapons at his fleet, then vanished before his gunners could return fire. 3 Vorthon destroyers exploded in the first 5 seconds. What are those? Krath whispered. On his screen, a new transmission appeared. It was Colonel Webb sitting calmly in his command center. General Krath, Webb said politely. Welcome to Earth. I hope you're enjoying our hospitality. Behind Webb, red warning lights flashed and the words, Ghost Fleet Active, appeared on every screen. The real battle was about to begin. General Krath's bridge erupted in chaos. Alarm sirens screamed as red warning lights flashed everywhere. Vortan officers shouted reports over each other, their voices filled with panic. Contacts appearing at Sector 7. 3 destroyers down. Energy signatures impossible to track. They're everywhere. Krath grabbed his sensor officer by the throat. What is happening? Ships cannot just appear and disappear. I don't know, sir. The officer gasped. Our sensors show them for 2 seconds, then nothing. It's like they're teleporting. Teleportation is impossible, Krath roared. No species has mastered that technology. Another explosion lit up space as a Vorthon cruiser vanished in a ball of fire. Through the viewing window, Krath could see human ships materializing right inside his formation. They would appear, fire devastating energy beams, then vanish before his gunners could even aim. Captain Lisa Rodriguez sat in the command chair of the human ship, Phase Walker. Around her, the bridge hummed with advanced technology that looked nothing like Earth's old rockets. Holographic displays showed the Vorthon fleet from every angle. Target locked, reported her weapons officer. Vorthon battleship bearing 27 Mark IV. Fire and jump, Rodriguez ordered calmly. The Phase Walker materialized directly above the alien battleship. Its main cannons fired 3 precise shots into the enemy's engine section. Before the Vorthons could react, the human ship vanished again. The alien battleship exploded like a dying star. Ghost 7 to Ghost Leader, came a voice over Rodriguez's communication system. Sector 12 is clear. 15 enemy vessels destroyed. Ghost 12 to all units, another voice reported. The aliens are trying to retreat. Cutting off escape routes now. Rodriguez smiled. All Ghost units, this is Ghost Leader. Begin Phase 3. Show them they cannot run. Across the battlefield, human ships began appearing ahead of fleeing Vorthon vessels. The aliens found themselves surrounded by enemies that could be everywhere and nowhere at once. General Krath watched his mighty fleet being torn apart by ghosts. How many ships do they have? He demanded. Sensors cannot get an accurate count. his tactical officer replied, sweat dripping from his gray skin. They appear in different locations faster than we can track. It could be 50 ships or 500. Sir, the communications officer called out. We're receiving messages from our other fleets. What other fleets? Krath snapped. The second and third battle groups, sir. They report similar attacks at the outer planets. Human ships appearing from nowhere, destroying our supply lines. Krath's red eyes widened in shock. That's impossible. Our scouts reported only 48 human ships in this entire system. On his main screen, Colonel Webb's face appeared again. The human looked completely calm, as if he was discussing the weather instead of a space battle. General Krath, Webb said politely. You seem confused. Would you like me to explain what's happening? What are you? Krath whispered. Fear crept into his voice for the first time in decades. We're humans, Webb replied simply. Just humans. The same species your council friends laughed at 6 days ago. Behind Webb, tactical displays showed the battle from every angle. Vorthan ships burned while human vessels danced between dimensions like deadly spirits. Your ships, they're not following the laws of physics, Krath protested. Webb smiled. Whose physics, yours? You know, General, your people have conquered 47 civilizations, but you've never faced anything like us. Another wave of human ships materialized around Krath's flagship. They didn't fire, they just waited, like predators surrounding wounded prey. Surrender now! Captain Rodriguez's voice came through the communication system. Your fleet is finished. Half your ships are destroyed. The other half cannot escape. Krath looked around his bridge. His officers stared at him with desperate eyes. Through the windows he could see the burning remains of his once mighty fleet. Never! He snarled. The Vorthan Empire does not surrender to primitives. He turned to his weapons officer. Fire everything we have at their planet. If we die, we take them with us. Sir, yes, sir. The weapons officer began entering firing commands. Every Vorthan ship still functional turned their massive guns toward Earth. Thousands of missiles launched from their hulls. Energy beams powerful enough to crack continents fired toward the blue planet. But something impossible happened. Every missile vanished in mid-flight. Every energy beam disappeared before reaching Earth. It was as if the weapons had never been fired at all. What? Where did our weapons go? Krath stammered. Colonel Webb's image appeared on screen again. Oh, those? We teleported them into empty space. Quite harmless now. Teleported our weapons? Krath's voice was barely a whisper. General, Webb continued, you made a critical mistake. You assumed that because we asked for help, we needed help. You thought because we appeared weak, we were weak. On the tactical display, more human ships appeared. Not dozens, hundreds. They surrounded the Vorthan fleet in perfect formation. But humans have a saying, Webb said. Speak softly and carry a big stick. We spoke softly to your council. Now you're meeting our big stick. Krath's tactical officer looked up from his station, his face pale with terror. Sir, new sensor readings. There are over 5,000 human ships surrounding us. 5,000. Krath couldn't believe it, but our intelligence said. Your intelligence saw what we wanted you to see, Webb interrupted. Decoy ships, fake signals, misdirection. While you were counting our visible fleet, our real ships were hidden in folded space. Captain Rodriguez's voice filled the Vorthan bridge again. General Krath, you have 60 seconds to surrender. After that, we will demonstrate what total teleportation warfare looks like. Krath looked around desperately. His mighty invasion fleet was scattered and burning. His weapons were useless against enemies that could appear anywhere. His escape routes were blocked by ships that moved faster than thought. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, we're receiving distress calls from across the Empire. Other human fleets have appeared at our colony worlds. They're demanding our immediate withdrawal from this sector. Other fleets? Krath's voice cracked. How many ships do these humans have? Webb answered as if he had heard the question. Enough, General. More than enough. The 60 seconds passed in silence. Then Captain Rodriguez's voice returned cold and final. Time's up, General. Human ships began materializing inside the hulls of Vorthan vessels. Not to attack, simply to prove they could. Vorthan crews found strange humans walking through their ships as if the metal walls didn't exist. We can be anywhere, Rodriguez explained. Your hull armor means nothing. Your shields cannot stop us. Your weapons cannot hit us. You are completely helpless. General Krath fell into his command chair. His red eyes stared at the tactical display showing thousands of human ships surrounding his broken fleet. "Who are you people?" he whispered. "We're the species you laughed at," Webb replied. "We're the primitives who asked for protection. We're the cosmic insects who wanted to be left alone." He leaned forward, his calm expression never changing. "But since you wouldn't leave us alone, General, you get to learn something new about humans." The main screen showed Earth hanging peacefully in space. Around it, the Ghost Fleet moved in perfect formation like guardian angels made of metal and light. "We don't just survive, General. We adapt, we overcome. And when pushed too far," Webb's smile grew cold, "we push back." Rodriguez's voice came through one final time. "All Vorthan vessels, prepare to be escorted out of this system. Any resistance will result in your immediate removal from this dimension." "Removal from this dimension?" Krath asked weakly. "We can teleport you anywhere, General," Rodriguez explained. "The middle of a star, the empty void between galaxies, a black hole's event horizon, your choice." Krath's hands shook as he reached for his surrender beacon. But before he could activate it, his communications officer screamed in terror. "Sir, emergency transmission from High Command!" "Multiple alien empires are mobilizing their fleets. They're all coming here." The screen filled with new contacts. Hundreds of alien ships from different species, all heading toward Earth. Webb's expression didn't change. "Well, General," he said calmly, "it looks like word is spreading about our little demonstration. The real test was about to begin." 50 years ago, Northern Canada Earth Doctor Elena Vasquez crawled through the burning wreckage of something that should not exist. The metal was unlike anything on Earth. It seemed to bend light around itself, making it hard to focus on. Snow hissed as it touched the hot alien hull. "This is impossible," she whispered, pulling out her scanner. The readings made no sense. The ship's technology was thousands of years ahead of human science. Young Elena had been camping when she saw the fireball crash into the forest. As a quantum physics student, she knew she was looking at something that would change everything. Deep inside the crashed ship, she found a glowing core. It pulsed with energy that made her hair stand up. Strange symbols covered its surface, and when she touched them, images filled her mind, ships appearing and disappearing, technology that folded space like paper, an advanced civilization that had mastered teleportation. "The Nexari," she breathed, somehow knowing the alien race's name. The ship's computer was downloading its knowledge directly into her brain. Present day. Earth's orbit Colonel Webb stood in his command center, watching multiple alien fleets approach Earth. The tactical display showed over 20 different species, each bringing hundreds of warships, "Sir," Lieutenant Davis reported, her voice tense. "The Galactic Council is broadcasting on all frequencies. They're demanding to know how we developed teleportation technology." Webb smiled, remembering his conversation with Dr. Vasquez decades ago. "Patch me through to all incoming fleets." His image appeared on screens across dozens of alien ships. The creatures watching him represented the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. "This is Colonel Marcus Webb of Earth Defense Command," he began calmly. "You want to know our secret? I'll tell you. 45 years ago, secret military base. Nevada, a younger Webb than just a captain, walked through underground laboratories that officially didn't exist. Dr. Vasquez, now in her 40s, led him past incredible machines. "We've been reverse engineering the Nexari technology for 5 years, she explained. Their ship contained complete blueprints for dimensional folding drives. Webb stared at a prototype human ship that seemed to shimmer in and out of existence. "It actually works?" "Better than we hoped," Vasquez replied. "The Nexari were explorers, not warriors. But their technology, we can adapt it for defense." She showed him holographic displays of ship designs. "We can build vessels that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. They can appear anywhere, strike without warning, then vanish completely." "How long until we have a fleet?" Webb asked, "with proper funding and secrecy?" 20 years, Vasquez said. "But Marcus, this technology is incredibly dangerous. In the wrong hands, it could destroy civilizations." Webb nodded grimly. "Then we'll have to make sure it stays in the right hands." Present day, alien fleet communications. Admiral Zextar's massive form filled the communication screen. Behind him, representatives from 20 other species watched with hungry eyes. Human web, Zextar snarled. You will surrender this teleportation technology immediately. No single species should possess such power, especially not primitives like you. Added a crystalline being from the Krylon Empire. Your people are barely 5,000 years old. We have civilizations older than your planet. Webb remained calm. You're right. We are young, but sometimes young species see things differently. He pressed a button, and the display changed to show Earth's hidden shipyards. But these weren't in space. They existed in folded dimensions, invisible to normal senses. The aliens gasped as they saw the true scope of human preparation. Thousands of ships under construction, massive industrial complexes that could build entire fleets, technology that made their own shipyards look primitive. Impossible, whispered the Krylon representative. Those facilities, they're bigger than our home worlds. 30 years ago, first test. Flight Captain Sarah Chen, Ambassador Sarah's mother, sat in the pilot seat of humanity's first operational ghost ship. Around her, the prototype bridge hummed with Nexari-derived technology. Control. This is Ghost 1, she spoke into her communicator. Ready for first dimensional jump test. Dr. Vasquez's voice crackled back from the ground station. Remember, Sarah, just a short hop. We don't fully understand the risks yet. Sarah smiled. Understood. Beginning jump sequence. She pressed a series of controls. Reality seemed to bend around the ship. For a moment, she existed in multiple places at once, seeing Earth from above, the moon's surface, and the empty void between stars. Then the ship materialized exactly where she had intended, 3,000 miles away, appearing behind the moon in perfect silence. Jump successful, she reported, her voice filled with wonder. Transition was smooth. No system damage. Webb's voice joined the communication. How do you feel, Captain? Like I just broke every law of physics, Sarah laughed. And it felt amazing. Present day, galactic fleet formation, the alien armada had grown larger. Over 500 ships now surrounded Earth, each one representing a different species. Energy weapons powered up across the fleet as tension reached breaking point. Human! Admiral Zextar's voice boomed across space. You have 30 minutes to surrender your technology. After that, we will take it by force. Webb looked at his tactical display. The aliens outnumbered his visible fleet 50-1, but numbers meant nothing when you controlled the battlefield itself. Ghost Fleet Command, he spoke into his communicator. All units prepare for full demonstration. Let them see what 50 years of preparation looks like. Captain Rodriguez's voice came back immediately. All Ghost units report ready, sir. Current fleet strength, 8,000 operational vessels. 8,000. Lieutenant Davis gasped. Sir, I thought we had 5,000 ships. Webb smiled. That was yesterday's count. Our dimensional shipyards never stop building. 20 years ago, the Decision Admiral Chen, Sarah's father and head of the Ghost Project, stood before the United Nations Security Council. The room was filled with world leaders, all sworn to absolute secrecy. The question before us, Admiral Chen said gravely, is simple. Do we reveal our capabilities to the galaxy, or do we remain hidden until threatened? The President of the United States leaned forward. Admiral, if we reveal this technology, every alien empire will want it. We could start the biggest war in galactic history. And if we don't, the Chinese premier added, we remain vulnerable to attack. Admiral Chen activated a holographic display showing galactic politics. My recommendation is that we stay hidden until directly threatened. Let the galaxy think we're primitive. When the time comes, we'll be ready. The vote was unanimous. Present day. The full reveal web pressed the final authorization code. Around Earth, space itself began to change. What the aliens had thought was empty space suddenly filled with ships. Not hundreds, thousands. The Ghost Fleet materialized in perfect formation, surrounding the alien armada completely. But these weren't just ships. They were mobile fortresses, each one larger than most alien dreadnoughts. Their hulls gleamed with technology that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Admiral Zextar's voice cracked as he spoke. How? How many ships do you have? Enough, Webb replied simply. We've been building this fleet for 50 years. Every ship is equipped with Nexari-enhanced technology. Every captain has trained for this moment since childhood. He paused, letting the aliens absorb what they were seeing. The species you laughed at has been preparing for this day longer than some of your civilizations have existed. Captain Rodriguez's voice echoed across all communication channels. Attention alien fleets, you are completely surrounded. Our ships can appear inside your hulls, outside your shields, or in your home system simultaneously. You cannot fight what you cannot hit. You cannot escape what can be everywhere at once. The tactical display showed the true scope of human preparation. Ghost ships stationed near every major alien world. Mobile shipyards that could appear anywhere in the galaxy. Technology that made faster-than-light travel look like crawling. Admiral Zextar's massive form seemed to shrink. What? What do you want? Webb's expression never changed. The same thing we asked for 6 days ago. To be left alone. But you could conquer the entire galaxy, the Krylon representative whispered. Yes, Webb agreed. We could, but we don't want to rule anyone. We just want peace. He leaned forward, his calm eyes meeting the camera directly. However, if you force us to choose between conquest and extinction, we will choose conquest. Every time. The communication channel fell silent. 500 alien ships faced 8,000 human vessels that could be anywhere, anytime. You have 1 hour to decide, Webb concluded. Withdraw peacefully, or learn what total war looks like when humans stop holding back. As alien captains frantically called their homeworlds for instructions, Webb turned to Lieutenant Davis. Send a message to Ambassador Chen, he said quietly. Tell her Phase 4 is complete. The galaxy knows the truth now. What's Phase 5, sir? Davis asked. Webb looked at the tactical display showing panicked alien fleets beginning to retreat. Phase 5 depends entirely on their next move. The secret was out. Humanity's true strength was revealed. Now the galaxy would have to decide whether they wanted humans as friends or... The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. The same aliens who had laughed at Ambassador Sarah Chen 6 days ago now sat in stunned silence. Emergency session lights flashed red as reports poured in from across the galaxy. Admiral Zextar's massive form hunched in his chair. His yellow eyes, once filled with arrogance, now showed only fear. Around the circular table, 23 species representatives whispered among themselves in panic. Report, the council speaker commanded. The ancient being's voice trembled despite his efforts to stay calm. The Krylon representative spoke first, his crystalline body flickering with nervous energy. The humans have ships positioned near all our homeworlds. Our defense forces cannot even detect them until they choose to appear. Same here, added the tree-like Verdanian delegate. Green sap leaked from his bark like sweat. My fleet commanders report human vessels materializing inside our military bases. They delivered messages and vanished before we could react. What messages? The speaker asked, though he already knew the answer. Admiral Zextar finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. The same message to everyone. Withdraw from Earth's system immediately or face the consequences. The chamber's main screen activated, showing a tactical display of the galaxy. Red dots marked human fleet positions. They were everywhere. No major civilization was beyond their reach. How is this possible? The energy being from Sector 9 pulsed with frustrated light. 6 days ago, we confirmed they had less than 50 ships. We saw what they wanted us to see, admitted the speaker gravely. The question now is, what do we do about it? Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, the situation was very different. The massive alien armada that had come to demand human technology was now scattered and retreating. Most ships had already jumped to hyperspace, fleeing as fast as their engines could carry them, but not all of them. General Krath stood on his bridge, staring at the human fleet surrounding his remaining ships. His once mighty invasion force was down to just 50 vessels. The rest had either been destroyed or had fled in terror. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, Admiral Zextar is ordering all Vorthan forces to retreat immediately. No, Krath growled. I will not run from primitives. Prepare the Omega Protocol. His officers looked at him in horror. The Omega Protocol meant using planet-killer weapons, massive bombs that could destroy entire worlds. "Sir," his tactical officer protested, "if we use those weapons, the humans will what?" Krath snarled. "Teleport them away like our other weapons?" "I don't think so. These bombs exist in quantum flux until detonation. They cannot be moved or stopped." He turned to his crew with wild eyes. "If we cannot have victory, we will have revenge. Prepare to fire on Earth's major cities." But before his crew could follow the order, every screen on the Vorthan bridge went dark. Then, slowly, they flickered back to life, showing a single image. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood in the Galactic Council chamber. But she was not alone. Behind her stood Colonel Webb, Captain Rodriguez, and a dozen other human officers. They were physically present in the chamber, despite being light years away from Earth. "Greetings, Galactic Council," Sarah said calmly. "Thank you for this emergency session. We have some things to discuss." Admiral Zextar's jaw dropped. How did you get here?" "This station is surrounded by our most advanced security." Sarah smiled. "We teleported directly into your chamber. Your security systems are designed to stop ships, not individual people." She walked to the center of the room, her footsteps echoing in the silence. 6 days ago, I stood in this same spot and asked for your help. You refused. You laughed. You called my people cosmic insects. The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "Today, I return with a different message," Sarah continued. "Earth no longer needs your protection. Earth no longer asks for your permission. Earth is claiming its rightful place in this galaxy." The council speaker leaned forward. "What are your demands?" "Simple," Sarah replied. "First, the Vorthan Empire will immediately cease all aggressive actions and withdraw from this sector. Second, the Galactic Council will recognize Earth as a sovereign power with full voting rights. Third, all species currently oppressed by stronger neighbors will be placed under Earth's protection." "Protection?" The Krylon representative gasped. "You mean conquest?" "No," Colonel Webb spoke for the first time. "We mean protection. Unlike some species in this room, humans do not conquer for sport." He activated a holographic display showing recent galactic history. In the past 1,000 years, the Vorthan Empire has enslaved 47 civilizations. The Krylon domain has strip-mined 32 worlds to extinction. The Zephyrian Collective has committed genocide against 6 different species. The accused aliens tried to protest, but Webb continued. "Earth's terms are non-negotiable. You can accept our protection of weaker species, or you can discover what happens when humans stop being patient." Back in space, General Krath was still trying to activate his planet-killer weapons, but every time he pressed the firing button, nothing happened. "Sir," his weapons officer said nervously, "the Omega bombs. They're gone." "Gone? What do you mean gone?" "They're not in our weapons bay anymore, sir. It's like they never existed." Captain Rodriguez's voice filled the Vorthan bridge. "General Krath, we moved your weapons to a safe location, specifically into the core of your home system's sun. They should detonate in about 3 minutes. Krath's red eyes widened in terror. "You teleported bombs into our sun? That will destroy half our solar system." "Only the uninhabited half," Rodriguez replied calmly. "Your colonies and population centers will be fine. Consider it a demonstration of what happens when species threaten Earth's civilians." On the tactical display, Krath watched as his homeworld sun flared brighter. The explosion was visible across 3 star systems, a clear message to anyone considering future attacks on humanity. "Your choice, General," Rodriguez continued. "Surrender now, or we start teleporting your ships into that same sun." General Krath's hands shook as he reached for the surrender beacon. In the Galactic Council chamber, the mood had shifted completely. The same beings who had mocked humanity now looked at Sarah Chen with a mixture of fear and respect. "Ambassador," the speaker said carefully, "your demonstration has been noted, but surely we can reach some accommodation. The galaxy has maintained balance for millennia." "Balance?" Sarah laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You call slavery and genocide balance? You call the strong devouring the weak balance?" She gestured to Colonel Webb, who activated another display. This one showed smaller civilizations across the galaxy, species too weak to defend themselves against larger empires. "The Tillari were wiped out last month by Vorthan expansion," Sarah said. The Nexan are currently being enslaved by Krylon mining operations. The Yashi have been reduced to 3 worlds because Zephyrian fleets keep taking their planets. She turned to face each council member directly. That ends now. Earth is establishing protection protocols for all weaker species. Any aggression against them will be considered an attack on Earth itself. And if we refuse? Admiral Zextar asked, though his voice held no defiance. Sarah's smile was cold as space. Then you'll join the Vorthon fleet. She pointed to the main tactical display. Where General Krath's invasion force had once been, only empty space remained. Where did they go? The Verdanian delegate whispered. Somewhere safe, Colonel Webb answered. Specifically a small moon in an uninhabited system about 50,000 light-years from here. They have enough supplies to last a year. If they behave, we'll bring them home. And if they don't, the energy being asked, then they'll have a very long time to think about their choices, Webb replied. The council chamber fell silent again. Every delegate understood the message. Humanity could make entire fleets disappear with a thought. No defense could stop them. No weapon could touch them. Council Speaker, Sarah said formally, Earth requests an immediate vote on our proposals, full membership, protection protocols, and recognition of our territorial claims. The speaker looked around the chamber. Every delegate avoided his gaze. The choice was clear: accept humanity's terms or face the same fate as the Vorthons. All in favor? The speaker asked weakly. 23 hands, claws, tentacles, and energy fields rose in unanimous agreement. Motion carried, the speaker announced. Earth is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Council with all associated rights and privileges. Sarah nodded. Excellent. Our first act as council members is to establish the Earth Protection Fleet. Any species requesting protection from aggressive neighbors can contact our embassy. She paused, letting her words sink in. The age of the strong devouring the weak is over. The galaxy now has guardians. Colonel Webb stepped forward. Our fleets will begin patrol duties immediately. Any acts of aggression, slavery, or genocide will result in immediate intervention. But, Sarah added with a slight smile, for those species willing to coexist peacefully, Earth offers friendship, trade, and technological cooperation. The choice is yours. 6 months later, Ambassador Sarah Chen stood in the same council chamber. But everything had changed. The room buzzed with productive discussion instead of threats and mockery.